I was fascinated by television characters. I used to watch and follow every single move and repeat it in front of my family. And I would take it to the neighborhood. I would literally force the neighborhood kids to work with me on stuff that I would write. I would act and direct and produce. As I grew up, I got opportunities to be on television. For example, when I was in junior school, I got to be acting the part of a mermaid in my school's biggest production. It was actually exhilarating, I should say. It made my heart dance. And from that time, I knew there was something particular about acting and movies and television that drew me in. I did not really make an effort into getting into that industry per se. When I grew a little bit older, in my late teenage years, I accidentally ran into television once again, and at this point I was working for Lotto, and I was the face of Lotto and ended up being on television quite a bit. And then I worked for Joy TV as a news anchor, and so that's where it started. Much later on, I decided that I wanted to combine my love for television with my passion for business, and so being able to be a movie producer allows me to have the two working together. What I enjoy the most about the industry is the ability to invoke people's emotions, to influence mindsets, and to affect behavior. I think it's such an amazing force that has the power to transform lives. It's one of those experiences in life that even if you know what the outcome is going to be, it transports you into a space and time, and you enjoy it. You enjoy the ride. I think we all want to be in the movies. At some level, I think the thought has crossed all of our minds. The glitz and the glamour seems to attract all of us. So the ability to actually be in a movie and the ability to actually make a movie is simply precious. It is definitely a difficult industry to break into, definitely. But if you want something hard enough, somehow you will make it happen. The world was not making room for me, and so I made room for myself. Unless you have connections, unless you have a name or are connected to a name, it can be pretty difficult. You have to go it alone until you have enough charisma and enough credibility for you to be able to attract the right people and the right resources that will believe in you enough to come with you. And so it's like any other business. You're starting from the ground up. It's almost like paying your dues, but in this particular industry, the more connected you are, the more people you network with in the right places and doing the right things, the more you know, and the more people you know what they know, the better off you are. But once you break through, you know the story. I will not ruin it for you. Of course, there are some hard lessons that I have learned in the movie industry. The birthing process can be long and tedious. What the audience see is the final product with the gloss and the gorgeous stars and artists associated with it. What they don't see, though, are the many, many late nights, the number of no's that you get along the way, and the voice in your head that questions you every step of the way. And so there are definitely lessons. I would say lesson number one is patience. The willingness to put in the work knowing that no one may see your product for many, many years is or can be a challenge. Lesson number 2, I like to call it realism. The somber realization that your product may not be received in the way that you expected or projected. There's a time and a season for every movie, every story, every genre, just like music. If you build it, they might not come. So your ability to match that time in season can actually be excitingly fruitful. Lesson number 3, I'll call it sold out. You have to be completely sold out on your vision, right? You have to be willing to go all out, to go into survival mode in order to make it happen for you. You have to trust your gut and follow it, because someone is always going to be trying to change the story, the director, the location, the actors, etc. Lesson number 4, I would say act a fool. Really. I can't tell you how many times that someone has tried to stop me in my tracks. In fact, one person that I absolutely admire, and I still do, recently told me I would never make it. I admit I'm still trying to make it. I think we all are still trying to make it at some level. But here's the thing, never accept a prediction that does not empower you. Somehow, when you bridge dreaming with execution, something magical happens. The genius in you emerges. And lesson number 5 is ask. That is a biggie, even for me. The holy grail of making a movie is finding the money to make the movie. It's a daunting process of finding the people that have the disposable income and are willing and believe in you enough to want to put their money into the process, hoping that an awesome product will come about and hopefully the world will love it. Having the thick skin, the charisma, the attitude and faith, not hope, the faith that no matter what, someone out there is going to step up and be willing to realize the dream with you is critical. 99% of your time as a producer like myself is spent looking for the money to make the movie. That's after finding the right story, of course. What advice would I give to entrepreneurs trying to break into the movie industry? Let me start with some statistics. So, Nollywood is Nigeria's second largest employer, second only to agriculture, employing over 1 million people and making 50 movies a week with over 600 million contributing to the economy annually. PricewaterhouseCoopers Africa Entertainment and Media Report for 2014 to 2018 predicts the outlook for Africa's entertainment and media market to be able to outperform the overall economy of the entire continent, with significant growth in internet, film, television production and consumption, with healthy increases in cinema, streaming and media consumption. And so worldwide, the same report projects that the overall filmed entertainment market revenue will be rising by a CAGR of about 4.5, that's year over year, about 4.5%, from $88.3 billion US dollars to $100 billion from 2013 to 2017. The commercial viability of independent movies has also grown significantly over the years, and the reception of black films or films by people of color is higher now. That's probably a season, but the outlook, when you look at Africa's 1 billion plus population and everyone else around the world that you can create content for, I think the outlook is pretty impressive. What this means for you is that there's a vast array of opportunity in the industry. We often think of movies from the perspective of an actor, director, producer, for example, and forget about all the other ancillary pieces that are required in order to make a movie or to distribute a movie. And so I am going to touch on many more ways, a few more ways that you can or should be participating. Product placement, for example. Marketing dollars matter, whether you're a small business or you're a full-blown global company, which is why the Coca-Colas and the Samsungs of this world are engaging more increasingly in product placement. Seamlessly incorporating a brand's products and its message into a movie in return for a good return on investment, monetary return on investment, or promotional opportunities, or some form of other consideration, is the best way to reach a captive audience in a manner that the consumer is happy about or is attracted to. When celebrities use a product, we want to be the ones that are also using that product. We want to use that product as well. We identify with them and want to be associated with the brands that they are associated with. When a brand is correctly interwoven with the script, showcasing the product's functions through visual, verbal, and signage, there can be significant benefits, such as the increase in brand awareness and recall, better targeting of a brand's core demographics, direct consumer engagement with the content, which increases the brand recognition and can directly impact your sales and exposure to a very captive audience. They're not going anywhere. They're right there. So you have them listening and watching and interacting with your product in some way. What products am I talking about here? Cars and alcohol, watches, clothes, drinks, airlines, hotels, banks, you name it. The difference is we spend a lot of money on television and newspaper and radio ads, which are short-lived and are broad. For a movie, it lives on. 5, 10, 15 years from now, people can still be watching the movie and enjoying and interacting with your product. So for about $25,000 US dollars to $250,000 US dollars, for 2 seconds, your product could be interacting with millions of people. Investors. People invest in movies for different reasons. For example, the love of the arts, the glitz and the glamour, just being part of that Hollywood feel, being part of something bigger, giving back, or of course, return on investment. You can find an independent project that you can fund partially or fully. Smaller budget movies with clear marketing and distribution strategies can be pretty attractive, and your participation in them can be in the form of a loan or in the form of equity. Like any other business venture, there can be an upside and there can also be a downside. In movies though, when there is an upside, typically that upside is a blockbuster. It's an amazing upside. And so with high risk, the potential for high returns also exists. For investors in African countries, in countries like South Africa, there are additional benefits that are pretty attractive. For example, there are tax credits that the South African government offers to investors in the movie industry, both for individuals and for corporations, that allow you to have a lower tax liability at the end of the year, which is a great benefit in addition to the potential profits that you get to participate in if and when your movie becomes pretty successful. For writers and storytellers, you know, you don't have to be a great storyteller yourself. You can work with a scriptwriter who can package your story into something absolutely fantastic and sell your story and make a movie out of it. We need more stories of everything that you have gone through as entrepreneurs, as Africa's leading leaders in. We need to create the heroes of Africa through movies. Cast and crew. I think many of us are pretty familiar with this side of things, and so I'll not dive into it as much. And if you're interested, you can go onto our website. But there are other areas that fall into the cast and crew category that folks forget about. For example, the talent agent. Are you able to identify the right people for the right roles in a movie? Are you a set designer? Are you a clothing designer, a hair or makeup artist? They are needed in order to make the look and feel of the movie the right one. The other production services and post-production services, for example, accommodation and security and food and clothes, cell phone services, transportation, drinks, water. Does your company supply any of those things? Could you partner with a movie producer for you to be the water supplier for the 4 to 6 weeks of production in South Africa or in Zambia or whatever country you're in Africa? And do you write music, or do you sing? Are you an artist? Do you edit videos? Are you creative? Can you create the promotional documentation like flyers and posters and DVDs? Are you in marketing or public relations or distribution company? All of these things are things that we need in order to make things happen in the movie industry. This is indeed an industry that touches on multiple other industries. So the advice that I can give you is find where you fit the best and identify the right partners to work with in order to participate in a movie on the back end or on the front end. We are constantly looking for partnerships. For example, right now we are working on the Perfect Storm movie, which is in pre-production. We're looking for investors and product placement and post-production services. And so we invite you to participate with us, to come along with us as we make this one-of-a-kind movie. So take some time to visit our website or email Sylvia at SylviaChimhina.com.